Hey guys, it is Dan and Joe, and we're on Freaks and Geeks again. This is now episode 6 that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's called I'm With the Band. And now you mentioned earlier, off air, that you think this will be, we're finally going to get a short review of Freaks and Geeks.
We might have it finally.
I thought it might be last week, and then it was our longest one yet.
So maybe I shouldn't have said it.
It was like 8 minutes longer than the episode itself. So you never do know. You can never tell how it's going to go.
I don't think this will be too bad.
But see, I was thinking the same, but I didn't want to say it because I said it last time and screwed it up.
Okay.
I think this could be a half-hour one.
I think half hour is doable.
All right, so the episode is called I'm With the Band.
Yes.
And this is a very Nick-heavy episode. I told you we were going to learn a little bit more about Nick's background coming up in his family life.
Very much Nick-heavy.
And we learn about that there.
It's a good episode.
It's a good episode. Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a good... I think just from Nick, honestly, from his partner, I think I really liked seeing something from his character at this point.
Well, there were certainly a couple things I thought of for you.
Okay.
Rogen is back in it. And we haven't seen Seth Rogen too much lately, and I know you like his character.
Rogen has a more prominent role, and I would dare say his hair's grown out. It's like he's becoming Seth Rogen slowly.
A little bit.
Like he has a little more character now.
He was probably doing a couple of movies. Well, we kind of theorized last time he wasn't in the 2 most recent episodes because he was
filming somewhere,
filming like Grandma's Boy or some movie.
Something.
So this was way before Grandma's Boy, but
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean. One of the early Seth Rogen movies.
Yeah.
But here we have the Freaks story with the music. Nick. The Franco character, Daniel. We see him. Kim Kelly's in it a little bit.
Enough.
But really Lindsay.
She has one of my favorite lines. My favorite sequences.
Okay.
When she talks to Lindsay afterwards.
After everything.
It's pretty funny.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have a completely separate B story with the Geeks.
Which is good.
Which is also pretty good. So you like to break down the Freaks first and then the Geeks.
Because I usually say...
Because your favorite is the Geeks.
I like to build up to the Geeks.
But I'll tell you one thing.
Uh-oh.
For me, this was a Freaks-centric episode.
Totally agree.
And of the 2 storylines, that was my preferred.
I definitely think that the Freak storyline, it's definitely the center, and I would say it's better, it's more fleshed out. Like, the Geek storyline, we could have definitely seen similar things done, and this is kind of going on some of the same themes.
Right.
Had they stretched it out, it might have been better, but you could definitely tell it was a B plot. But it was fun. It was fun.
Yes.
It was fine for what it was.
But it's interesting because...
It has a great sequence, I'm sure you like.
It has... There's some good parts that I liked of the B story. It has...
Surprised me.
The intro really highlights both of those things because the first scene before the Joan Jett and the credits is Nick in the basement playing the drums. He's got the Rush song going.
In the background, yeah.
Great intro to an episode.
Yeah, and then cuts right in.
And then cuts right into Joan Jett. And then the very first scene after the commercial break is at the gym with Biff, Thomas Wilson from Back to the Future, which we just finished watching in a movie theater, which was wonderful.
It's the guy.
And we talked about how, boy, what a Biff in the as the coach.
I'm loving it. It's my second favorite Biff performance.
Yeah, I mean, really.
that I've seen.
So I think these stories almost get a similar amount of time. But certainly the band is the A story.
It feels like definitely a more fleshed out story.
And I think the B story is largely the comic relief.
It's comic relief to kind of ease it up a little bit.
Right.
And I feel like it's delving with beats with the Geeks we've already seen before in previous episodes.
Right.
Even references to the pit hair comes back.
Yes,
so they're bringing it back.
All right, so let's talk about it with the Freaks first. Tell us about the Freaks plot.
All right. I could kind of relate, I guess, a little bit to the Freaks plot.
Okay.
I really could. So basically, Nick, as we know, is a drummer. He's a big fan. That's like his dream. He wants.
We've seen this before in episodes. He was very upset when Bonham died.
A big fan of Rush and all these big progressive bands.
Right.
So great taste in music. I'm sure we would have gotten along for that. But basically, he's practicing because Daniel and Seth Rogen and another character I've never seen before is the bassist.
Well, we've seen him.
I've seen him before,
but he's not really part of any group.
He's just in the.
He's
band.
a floater. He isn't really part of the Freaks, but he consorts with them sometimes. And he's certainly not part of the Geeks because he's not like a smoking kid or whatever.
He's just a peripheral kind of guy.
Yeah, so he's been in probably almost every episode. He's kind of like the guru guy.
Oh, really?
Who's in just about every episode.
Okay.
But we just don't really see him that much.
Well, I liked his lines, and I thought he had a couple of good little parts. Mm-hmm. This character who was just the bassist, and so they're basically playing, and Kim Kelly's of course really enjoying, and so is Lindsay. They're being supportive. They're all just hanging out playing, but they're doing pretty rough. They're not good. They're really not good. They're really not good. And they haven't been practicing, and well, okay. Who is the guy that plays Nick's father? Because I've seen him in a lot of things.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Okay, this guy's a character actor. Plays very similar guys. Usually is like a bad guy. He was in Lost. He was John Locke's
he's a very very good
horrible person.
He always plays
villainous,
someone intimidating.
There's this
maybe
movie,
not necessarily a villain, but somebody intimidating.
This is maybe this will be a long podcast, but I'll tell you.
I told you.
There's a one. If you ever get the chance to see Mate One, it's about
I've heard of
coal
that.
miner strike. It's
you like that.
Chris Cooper. Early Chris Cooper.
Love Chris Cooper.
It's about the coal miner strike in West Virginia, and that guy plays the leader of the Pinkerton Felt, like mercenary guys that go in and shoot him up and say, "Stop striking, and we'll kill you." And he has some creepy scenes. I'm just thinking, oh, that's that guy.
Well, so here's what happened in this with this actor, I should say.
Okay.
So
I liked him a lot.
He was great for the role, and
it's like that guy.
I'm sort of doing an aside here because you didn't even get to say really his role, but he's basically this military guy, military background. We find out that Nick's brothers are also in the military.
Yeah.
That are older than him. But so he's got this real stoic, style, and he's like, "Look, you need to keep a C+ average, or you're going to the military. These drums are not going to work out. I've been very kind to you so far.
Stop playing after 5.
Yeah, here we go. I've tried to be courteous, but so here's the deal. So this guy, while on set, was just no nonsense.
Could see it.
Came in, did the thing, and they didn't ask him to. They didn't, say, "Hey, go real method on these kids." But
that's just how he
the
was. The
kids were legitimately
scared of him.
Kind of scared of him.
Well, I don't know that actor's name, but he is an intimidating.
So it really worked out for the role.
He's just got that quiet voice, but you can tell there's like an edge to it. Mm-hmm. So I like that actor. I wish I knew his name. We should look it up before it's.
And this is the problem with
the phone. I'm like,
we're doing the video on the phone now, which I'm not doing all my videos on the phone because I still don't think it's as smooth.
No,
the picture is crisper,
but it's that little laggy.
But it's a little laggy. But it's certainly more convenient when I come over here because I always have my phone on me.
It's cool.
But yeah.
But
anyway.
And it was side to side about the behind the scenes production of these. But anyway, you're right. The dad comes down and says, "Hey, you're never going to make it as a drummer. You're going to the military if you don't get your grades up." So
and Lindsay overhears this. Everybody else is left.
She actually is obviously more interested in Nick now a little bit at this point. Seems to really, really care about him. And really was kind of inspired, I think, by those early conversations, following his dreams. Like, oh, you live for the drums. You can't give up on that. You know what? I believe you can really do good at it, but you have to practice more because you guys, if you want to win Battle of the Bands, you've got to practice.
Right.
It turns out, though, there's a bit of a rift with him and Daniel. Daniel just kind of going in there, playing whatever.
Well, because, I think the rift is, and we sort of find out this in the episode, but, it's more or less caused by Lindsay looking out for Nick. But what Nick I don't think ever realized was that Daniel
is not there.
And Seth Rogen. They're just there to hang out.
They're not really.
It's something to do after school.
Yeah.
They're kind of into music,
so they can just jam, which is fine.
They just want to jam.
But for him, it's serious. He actually wants it to become something.
Yes.
He wants to work at it, and they're not seeing eye to eye to that.
And something that I think is very interesting about this episode that we've not seen before in the show is Nick is the only person on the show. Now, the geeks are a little young still.
Sure.
But Nick is the only person in the whole show, really, that has any sort of aspirations. Lindsay wants to go to college, but,
generally,
we don't really know
what her dream is,
what her career path is.
That's
we don't
cool.
know any of that.
Nick actually wants to do something.
Yes.
He's passionate about something. That is cool. We knew that from the
get-go. And that's something I can relate to because I wanted to do radio. I wanted to be a DJ ever since I was in 4th grade.
Oh,
I
nice.
went through, all of middle school, all of high school, knowing that's what I want to do. And even once they got to college, a lot of my friends were like, I'm undeclared. I don't know what I want to do. We're going to find out. And to me, it was like, oh, well, that's great for me because I've known for 10 years what I want to do. And so seeing Nick have this pressure put on him by his dad, knowing that, like...
You got it taken away from you.
Right. Like, grades are not his thing. You know, academia is not his thing, but...
So, like, I have to find a way to make this work now.
Right.
So there is that pressure. And Lindsay wants to be supportive.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I could definitely see, and we will see this cause issues, but she's kind of right. Like, looking from Nick's perspective, if they want to help you...
Well, because I don't think she cares what the other guys are interested in.
She's over Daniel at this point.
You're right. She's over Daniel.
Like, who is in charge of this band, you or Daniel?
She just wants Nick to succeed.
Yeah.
Well, she also sees that he doesn't really have... Like, I think there's...
Role model support.
I think after the Kim Kelly episode, and, you know, after this episode, I think Lindsay is really, really seeing the strong, supportive family she has that she took for granted.
Oh, yeah.
All these years. And so now she sees the hammer coming down by Nick's dad, and she's like, you know what? My parents would never act
Say
like
that
this.
to me,
You know, they would be supportive, even if they didn't think it was something I would succeed at. Right. They would still be supportive.
We'll keep going on the synopsis, but I do want to say that
I know we're already off track.
We're already off track.
Well, not off track.
No,
it's all the episode.
But we're doing our bits and our commentary throughout the synopsis.
Right.
So, but we can't help. We got to get it out. It's that good, people.
Got to get it out.
I mean, this might be, kind of hammering it in again.
Hammering it in.
But I think this is another episode where I really found myself just really liking Lindsay's character. Like, she's such a good person. Like, I was just like,
wow. And we've talked about this before, that she really is the star of the show.
Oh, she is.
And,
she is.
She needs to be likable, and she needs to have...
But she's likable in a way that's not, like, cheesy or, like, unbelievable or preachy. She's just not too much.
It's funny that you say that, because something I learned in the commentary track is that Paul Feig and Judd Apatow... This actually was directed by Apatow, which
I saw that,
not all of them are. I think this might be one of the few that is. But anyway...
You can see some of that.
Yeah. So...
Later on.
But what's interesting about it is they sort of have this idea to... look, they've had... Every show with teenagers has had, like, the I want to be in a band, I want to be a successful musician.
Yeah.
So they're like, how can we, work
Subvert
this around it?
little...
Right. And so they were sort of taking the usual tropes of... Like, oh, you can make it. Like, this will be, you'll make your dreams come true.
And that might not be enough.
Kind of thing. And that might be not enough because this is a realistic show. But when NBC cut together the promos for this...
Oh, no.
They put all of the uplifting lines
in the trailer.
So it makes it seem like
up.
The type of show that they're trying to skewer a little bit.
Are they just trying to tick people
off?
Hilarious? They're trying to trick people. Like, maybe they'll like it even though it's not what they wanted. Not that subtle.
So they sort of were taken aback by how this particular
surface
episode
level,
being,
like it's okay. That's funny.
Treated by the network. Yeah. So it's funny you say that.
That's funny to hook people in, but no, it's not like that. Well, okay.
Because this ends more realistically.
It ends more,
which we'll talk about when he goes to the audition.
It's a great combination of things. But basically she says, all right, well, you know what? Here, okay. Well, first they have a fight, basically, because he's like, I want to try to take it seriously, and Daniel and
they end up basically quitting.
They quit.
They try the song, for the 5th time, and then
it's like, oh, this isn't even fun anymore.
Right?
But they're like, well, the Who has to practice a bunch of times, and they're right. It's like even the greats, they have to practice, and make something better, right? Create a process. Makes sense. Totally makes sense, but causes a rift in the band, rift in the friendship. There's a great scene where Lindsay goes out into, like, the courtyard, and Seth Rogen's, eating, like, pistachios or sunflower seeds, spitting them out in front of, like, thanks for, like, breaking up the band, Lindsay.
He's like, I don't know where anybody is. He's like, okay, whatever.
Like,
she starts to walk away.
And is that unusual that you don't know?
But no, she starts to walk away, though, and he's just like, by the way, thanks for breaking up the band, whatever.
This was great.
And so, but look, their back and forth
it's a good back and forth.
It was true, He's
upset about her. From his perspective, she's just kind of like meddling.
They
ruining
all
the friendship.
are seeing her as the Yoko. And
literally, they call her that as the Yoko.
Kim Kelly, I think, is the one who refers to her.
Daniel, actually.
It might have been Daniel.
One of them.
Refers to her as the Yoko. So
Kim's like, you're ridiculous.
That's how they see it.
Breaking up the band.
But her and Nick see it differently.
More serious goals.
And then James Franco comes out after Seth Rogen leaves, and same thing. And he starts picking up the sunflower seeds from the table.
That was gross.
That's Seth Rogen. But it's so within his character,
it is.
too.
And there's that great exchange of just, which is also a subtle nod. I thought once again, okay. For up to this point, and to some degree by the end of the episode, I still like Daniel's piece of you know what.
Right.
But from his perspective, he's actually trying to help Nick. Like I was just hanging out with him. He can be a drummer and have fun because he's never actually going to be good.
Well,
never going to be Keith Moon.
And that's the thing. He was trying to be realistic about it, whereas I think Lindsay was looking at it under the guise of how her parents would react to something, which we see later in the episode on the geek side of things when they're literally
like
at the dinner table. We'll get to that scene.
You can say something that's positive and helpful, but it's not necessarily the best way to look at it.
And I think that's sort of. I mean, look, that's the entire crux of Lindsay's character.
My parents are good, so I should be like them, even though it might not always necessarily be that simple.
Right. And so here, you're absolutely right. You have two very different perspectives of the same thing. And Lindsay's interests in helping Nick succeed are genuine.
They are.
But Daniel's interest in keeping him realistic and grounded are also genuine.
And I could see both perspectives as being kind of valid.
Right.
So I was like, which has just made me think, okay, do the thing you're going to do when we talk about it in just a few seconds, but then also have a backup plan.
Right.
So let's balance the drums and grids. Anyway, probably the best way to do it, people. But anyway, she's like, you know what, you don't need the band, just join up with Dimension.
Go to this audition.
Saw them open up for Jethro Tull, and then it was like, I heard they got booed off stage. No, when I went, they were great. So he goes to them. The guy before them is just killing it, by the way.
Yeah, the drummer that they're auditioning first is like...
Whiplash.
Just Whiplash style. just knocking it out of the park.
Has to go in after that. I was just like, I quit.
You know. And here he comes in, very nervous.
Very nervous, not confident. I saw you guys. And you got the impression that, I guess when you see these guys, they might be fine, but I don't know. Maybe they're not that great. I don't know. Whatever.
I got the sense that they're fine.
They're fine. Anyway, they're doing covers of other songs to test people.
And Paul Feig is part of the band. He was in the red shirt.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Yeah. But basically, we'll play some Cream or whatever. And wait, what song do they want to play? He doesn't know?
So Sunshine of Your Love was the one that they were practicing.
So he knows that one pretty well.
Which, by the way, was supposed to be, you'll appreciate this, Black Sabbath. Cost way too much, so they couldn't do it.
What song did they say?
I don't know.
Man.
My guess would be Paranoid, probably.
Easy one to do, easy drum part.
Easy drum part. My guess would be Paranoid, but...
Oh, that would have been so good.
It would not have been fun. Oh. But yeah, they couldn't do it. But,
no, Paranoid. How about,
Cream, Sunshine of Your Love, he suggested... And so instead, they were like, no, let's do, I think it's called Spotlight or something.
I don't know the song.
I don't know it, yeah. Sunshine of Your Love, I think, is really the only Cream song I know, but...
I'm not a huge Cream fan, to be honest. But anyway, basically...
Or White Room might be Cream 2, which they play later in the episode. I think that's Cream 2. But point is, they want to play this other song, and he's heard it,
nervous,
but he doesn't
know it as well.
He hasn't practiced it,
And then he just... Oh, man, he says he plays with a bigger kit, but doesn't necessarily mean he's... good.
And the first time he does okay, but they're like, hey, let's,
He does okay, and then I think I actually think he got more nerves,
they stop.
And he starts going, I think he screwed himself up with his nerves. I think they saw potential in him, but he kept getting worse. Right. So, who knows?
So by the third take, about a minute through the song, they were like...
You like how the one guy was like, hope we get to 30 sets?
Yeah, hope we get to a 30 drum set, 30-piece drum set,
I did like the subtle things where, like, Lindsay, I guess, doesn't quite know the cues of music that well.
Not at all.
Like, she's like, okay, it sounds okay, I think, but the one woman's like, The guy's like,
because
he looks at her and goes, no.
Because they've seen pros coming in the whole day.
They're like, no, he's not.
Especially the sound guy probably works with,
he's probably like their sound engineer or whatever.
Right, so he probably knows exactly what they're looking for, and you felt so bad.
I felt so
for
bad.
Nick in that moment.
And he's like, I'm over it. It's done. I'm going to go into the army. I'm screwed. But then she's like, you know what? I can't help you with your grades. So there was
so she's going to try and tutor him, I guess, or whatever.
So they kind of leave that open.
I wish they sort of had a throwback to the last episode where he said something about, you tutored Daniel, and look at how great that turned out.
No, forget that part. If she actually likes him, he might care.
Yes,
yes. So there's that. And then they kind of come back together. And I think she decides to keep him, like, watching him practice. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
At the end.
And when they're having this conversation, because he's feeling bad, she kisses him.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I guess their first kiss, right? They didn't kiss in that...
Boy, he almost...
where he was trying to get some. They didn't kiss, right?
I think he tried to. I don't think but it's the first real kiss
he
went in.
He moved in.
She was all on it, though, and I was like, oh.
It was nice.
I was like, this is nice.
So at the end of the episode, they're, watching the band play, and they're horrible.
But they're laughing.
But Nick's, they're having a good time.
And Kim Kelly's like, we have to talk. What? He always knew you were
a slut. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
like,
her a slut.
She thinks she knows how it is. Like, no, I'm not a slut. Like, I thought that was hilarious.
That was your favorite Kim Kelly moment?
Yes!
Of the
because she didn't have much to do in this episode.
I don't think I have a favorite Kim Kelly.
She's like 2 lines. But I thought that was funny because she's just like, oh yeah, like you're a bad girl now like me, and she has no idea what she's talking about.
She really is still... she's
I like
still kind
Kim Kelly, though.
I know you do.
I think she's
and I do
funny,
too. But she's still on the fence about Lindsay.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Even after the episode with you with their friend? Really?
Yeah, couldn't you tell from this episode? She sided with Daniel immediately.
She's got questionable choices in men, Dan.
Well, I know.
After the episode where it's called Kim Kelly is my friend, it's established she should know they've been through some stuff together. She shouldn't be that on the fence.
Look at her friendship with Rashida Jones, though, too. Turns on the dime.
All right, that's fair, but she was just a clone of Kim Kelly. Though. You know what? You're right.
Whatever it is. I'm just telling you. Her and Lindsay aren't,
they're not that
number
close
one friends here.
Clearly not, because they don't communicate. But she wants to communicate with her and have girl talk.
Kind of,
so in a way.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I thought that was kind of funny. Because Lindsay didn't quite get that. Like,
no.
That's not the way it was at all.
Kim Kelly is not a big part of this episode.
But it will lead to... All right, we can come back to this if you want, the final scene. Or we can talk about the geek stuff.
The final scene where he's in the basement by himself doing the drums.
Remember he says he hears the live stuff and he performs better because he feels like he's there. And she's just putting on dry ice to, like, make smoke. But, and then it's like, okay... Is she regretting her decision, being with him?
So let's talk about that. So you realize in that moment, she's just like, Daniel was right. He's not going to make it as a drummer. But God, I am attracted to his enthusiasm. I'm attracted to his passion.
That wasn't what I got out of it.
Okay, what did you get out of it?
I was wondering if she had kind of made that passionate move, and in that moment was wondering if she made the right move. And this is why it bothered me.
Okay.
It's the worst thing about this episode, Dan.
Okay.
Is the ending. The ending of the cut. Like, there was no... It just ended, and they didn't hold the camera on her face or anything. It was too quick.
You know what's funny?
I couldn't get a sense of what was that scene supposed to mean.
You know what's
I got really mad about that.
This is one of the few episodes that we've done so far where I actually really liked the way this one ended. Usually I have a problem with the ending because it does end too quickly. Oh, no. I think... That the way that ended was great. Because it is a little bit open to interpretation, but my interpretation was that she's watching him go and do the drums and just sort of... I don't think she regrets the kiss at all.
You don't think so?
If that's what you were thinking? No, I don't think she regrets the kiss. I think she realizes...
Daniel was right.
Oh, Daniel was right. He's not really going to make it as a drummer, but... I want to support him because
I care about
I really like him.
Like what he's
we
about.
shared this kiss. He's obviously passionate, which is something, again, you can't say about any of the other freaks. What are they for? What do they stand for?
They're
Nothing.
They're the freaks.
Nothing. But not Nick.
And he has a dream, and at least he's pursuing.
Right. So
okay. So
I think so. That was my interpretation of the ending. For the first time I saw this episode.
Okay.
I think this one ends.
All right.
This is my favorite ending so far, except for that pilot. That was good, where they're at the prom.
I guess I just wanted the camera to hold on her face a few seconds longer so that I could get a sense of her emotion, because for me it ended too quickly. Like, was this disdain? I couldn't quite tell what she was feeling.
Well, look, and one of the great things, one of the great parts of dissecting this show is a lot of Freaks and Geeks things are open to interpretation.
Which I didn't realize was going to be a thing going in.
Yeah.
No, but I think I like your interpretation better, but from watching it, that wasn't what I got, and I was confused because I thought the cut was a little too quick.
Okay.
Like, for what they were trying to go for, I just felt you could have held the camera on her a little longer.
All right.
Just a fraction. Fair. That's all I wanted. That's the only real issue I have with that aspect. Okay. I thought otherwise that part of the story was great.
I mean, I do think it was a great storyline.
I think you can.
But I really do like
practice. I think you could.
Maybe.
Because one thing I think that confuses me... All right, well, here's an interpretation thing for you. Because
tell me.
This is one thing I wasn't sure about watching.
Okay.
Okay. He says he can play better when he's got the live tapes on and he can kind of move with it a little more freely. Right. Maybe. And we could see he's definitely got some kind of talent.
Right.
Right? But is that just in his head? Does he believe that?
Well, and that's okay.
That's the thing I have a hard time with. Because she doesn't know anything about music.
And I think this is probably more Apatow's direction than anything else, the writing or the acting.
Okay.
But yes, the two parts, and we see it at the
beginning
intro.
It's almost like a dream sequence sort of thing.
He's got the lights going, yes. The beginning and then the very final scene.
We believe it.
I love the book ending of this. But the way that they cut the music from our perspective.
Yes, and then goes right to Joe.
And goes to him, beating the drums without hearing the Rush song in his headphones.
It doesn't sound as good.
And you realize, oh, I think you think he's only so good because of what's in his headphones. And when they're practicing Sunshine of Your Love, everyone else is so bad.
He's better because he's trying.
Better because he's trying.
That's true. I mean, you could definitely tell. All right, okay.
That's why I get that from it, that she realizes, oh, Daniel's right. Like, this isn't going anywhere.
I guess there was that first cut where clearly when he's hearing it, when he's got the headphones on, of course it sounds better.
Right.
If it's just him, but who can't relate to that? Like when you're singing, you're in the moment.
Right, same with everybody.
Right, so.
Me doing karaoke.
It's that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So
it's realistic.
It is realistic. I mean, you're never quite as good. He's a kid. I guess what I'm saying, all right, here's my thing. I get that it could be realistic.
Okay.
I get what they're going for. And I understand both perspectives. I think he should work on his grades. I don't want to see him go in the Army if he doesn't want to.
Right.
But I don't think he should give up on his drums. I think he's got some talent. I don't thinking he couldn't make it. I don't like Daniel's attitude that much either. I think it's a little too cynical.
Which is why
he's Daniel.
Hold on. Which is why Lindsay is in the middle.
That's why, yes.
She can see it from Daniel's perspective by the end, but she's still putting the dry ice on there because she supports it. Clearly makes him happy.
That's love.
And she wants to keep him doing what makes him happy.
That's love, I guess. I like that. I like that. That was a beautiful little thing. Even though it's like, I'll keep supporting him.
Well, there you go.
Stand by my man sort of thing. Hope this becomes a thing. I like them together.
Yeah, and I mean not in a bad
no
non-feminism type way.
No, but supporting your person you care about because
this is something
their passion and
has passion for. And even if he's not
the best, maybe he'll get better. I think he'll certainly get better. Like she even says, those guys are fine. Yeah. Like he'll get better if he keeps with it.
Look, he will. And she's not wrong about that either. That band was an established band in the community. They're 5 years
They weren't going to take
him.
him. They weren't going to take him no matter what, unless he was like a freaking.
No, probably not.
Why would
look? You never know.
You never know.
I mean, the Dave Matthews Band had a 15-year-old when they broke big. Because he was a virtuoso, and so it's possible,
I guess.
But yes, unlikely. It was unlikely.
Yeah,
especially with him still being in school. I mean, they played gigs in bars.
He hasn't graduated yet. Yeah,
so it was unlikely. But look, he did it, and hopefully, doing something like that doesn't set him back mentally. Like
maybe
breaking him.
I think with him, I think that he could use that experience to learn from it. Because I was looking at it like, hey, if I went out and tried for the band and I could at least do a couple sets with them, that's still a cool thing to talk about.
I think that's
cool.
I think that's
cool.
what she wants for him.
Yes.
She wants to be supportive even if this is not necessarily going to go anywhere, but it clearly his dad's not supporting him.
No.
I mean, he supports it to a degree.
Begrudgingly.
But he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. Nick is a bad student.
Mediocre.
And mediocre student. And, well, I don't know. If he's struggling to keep a C+ average?
Yeah, I guess.
Right? The line was you have to keep a C+ average, and he is struggling to do that. So I would say he's a little below mediocre.
Sure. He's struggling.
But he finds this passion in the drums, and his dad does permit him to, fiddle around with it. But halfway through the episode, he's like, okay, take your drums out of the basement. You're done. He's had enough. Because the grades keep slipping.
Yeah, and the grades need to be focused on.
Right.
That's true.
So you can't deny that.
No.
Okay, now look. We're about a half hour in already.
I was wrong.
We haven't even gotten to the geeks. So let's shift gears. Is there anything else that we need to say? I mean, we can go back, obviously, to some other points.
It was great.
It was great.
It was really good. It was really good.
All right, well, before we get to the geeks then, I guess I will talk about some of the background stuff of this episode and this show.
Oh.
More than just the Black Sabbath number. Because commentary track 2 on this episode was the production designers and the set designers and all that
That's
kind of
cool.
stuff. It was very cool because you never
hear from those people.
No, and this was such a music-specific episode that they were able to talk about some of the music clearing rights and that kind of thing. But something that I didn't realize is when they wear these shirts, Kiss, he's wearing the Kiss shirt. Daniel has the Van Halen shirt. At one point, there's several Rush shirts in this episode.
A lot of Rush
I guess
in this
probably
episode.
from Nick, but maybe from some of the other people. Which, by the way, Jason Segel must be a Rush fan.
Has to be.
Because of I Love You Man. Like, that was such a major plot point in I Love You Man, too. But anyway, or maybe this show got him into Rush. I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's not a bad thing.
But they have to get clearance for the logos, so not just the music rights.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, Dan.
Tell me.
The Rush guys seem pretty cool. I bet they were like, sure.
I don't know.
They clearly got it.
Well, they clearly have songs in the episode, and you'll notice Van Halen songs
everywhere
in a lot of these episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was one in this show, but they had the shirt anyway. But so those logos cost money, and a lot of the times they have to specifically design these shirts.
Original ones?
Yes. Because they're either impossible to find or they don't necessarily get permission. Like Kiss, for example, is notoriously tight with their things because they have such control over their empire.
Their marketing.
That I don't think that Kiss shirt he was wearing is a real Kiss shirt.
So they actually custom made band shirts for these scenes.
Yes.
Oh, that is so cool.
So they did that.
So cool.
And then some of the other things they talked about
really cool, actually.
was the lighting and production value of these episodes. Not just this one specifically, but the whole show, really. And so something I never really considered is the look of the show is very different from anything else that was on TV at the time. We've talked about sort of the difference between the sitcoms and stuff, but...
Well, Dan, that's something I've noticed before, too, is, I guess we haven't talked about it too much before, but I really do think there is something to be said for when TV was kind of shot and edited and lit more cinematically. And you know how, like, a lot of times TV especially is more like that flat, single
very
camera.
Cinematic.
There's just a lot of interesting stuff going on just in the whole production of it. I think, and we were talking about this is kind of on the cusp of the new age of television.
Right.
Like, Freaks and Geeks, other shows in, like, 99 probably did not look this interesting.
No, and so they talked about how every other show on NBC at the time, especially a sitcom, which this was sort of considered, hour-long, dramedy, whatever, everything, like they mentioned, like Friends and Frasier and Seinfeld, all very brightly lit, very bright shows. These are drab sets, drab clothing.
More realistic.
More realistic. And the other thing they pointed out was that they wanted to, even though it takes place in 1980, they specifically wanted to not make it dated. And so it certainly has an 80s feel to it.
Yeah.
But like I watched the Goldbergs, right? And the Goldbergs is so reliant on references. And even the backgrounds have like specific like toys from the 80s. And this is more...
It feels like...
This is more like... I mentioned the Wonder Years a lot because it's a perfect template for this show. But, Wonder Years took place in the 60s, but I related to it very much in the 80s when I was watching it. And same thing here. So they had this show 30 years before, but they wanted it to be very non-1980.
Like it's not in your face.
It's not in your face. And so, it's a period piece, but it's subtle. But even the hour-long shows of the time that were like of the dramedy, like an Ally McBeal,
brightly lit,
or like 90210 or Dawson's Creek, were all still very brightly lit, and that kind of thing. So even looking at like they were talking in the one scene where there's a shadow, they're in the kitchen of Nick's house, and Nick and Lindsay are talking, and like you can't even hardly see half of Nick's face because it's in a shadow, and that's how his house would have been lit. It was very interesting to hear them go through the mental process of figuring out how to just light this show, as opposed to anything else on TV.
So, I mean, not just in terms of recreating the set design to look like how a house in the 70s or 80s would have looked. It's how it would have been lit to with the types of bulbs available and lamps.
Yes, absolutely.
That attention to detail is just
It's not something that you see except for like HBO type shows where they have some kind of a budget.
They go that hard.
Yes, and
that's
so
awesome.
they said, I think at the time,
really
one of these episodes, I don't know if it was this one specifically, but one of the Freaks and Geeks episodes at the time broke the record for budget on an hour-long NBC show.
All right, Dan.
And part of that was, you know what? Actually, it was this episode because Apatow directed it. Part of that was the film. Because he kept rolling and rolling and rolling in Apatow style.
Again.
And NBC Suits was like, dude, you're killing us with this film budget. And he literally said to them, well, you never know when a take is going to hit, so you just got to film everything, guys. And so, so they spent something like, $1.5 million on this one episode.
Damn. I have a question.
In 2000, that's a lot.
It is a lot. Now, it makes me wonder, because I know the fate of the show, and I don't know how much this factors in with TV. I mean, I'm sure it must, because it does with movies a lot, but could one of the reasons why Freaks and Geeks failed was because of whatever budget? Because I could tell they went hard with these sort of things. Did that affected at all the marketing?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, well, NBC clearly didn't know how to market this show. That's number one. But number two, I think that if the ratings were higher and matched the the buzz, because obviously it was getting Emmy nomination, it had buzz in the industry, but the ratings did not match at all. And look, and we've seen that time and again. Arrested Development is
it's a
great example of that.
People love that show,
and people are like, I can't believe Fox canceled it for 3 years. Dude, it was a miracle that show lasted longer than a season.
Yeah, I'm surprised. How many? 3 seasons, right?
3 seasons, 2.5 really, because the third one was, I think, 14 episodes or whatever. But
should review that show sometime.
I love Arrested Development, at least the original 3 seasons.
I like that show too a lot.
But that's a perfect example. Like that Fox hung on to that show when really. And they even say in that one episode in the third season where they're having the Save Our Bluths telethon, which is really like a wink wink nod nod for another network to pick the show up. Somebody even says to Jason Bateman's character, like, I can't believe they're canceling the Bluths, and this and that. Michael Bluth goes, well, they've given us, they've given the Bluths, the old college try. They've really given us a lot of chances, that maybe they didn't have to, It was very tongue in cheek, obviously, like that show was. But yeah, I mean, this is a great example of that too, where if the ratings were better and matched at least a little bit the industry buzz, I think they could have held on to it longer.
It just makes me kind of sad. I mean, clearly it was still found and discovered, and we're talking about it right now. But that's clearly the love and attention to detail to recreate this and make it such a good thing, and still not have it grow in its time.
Well, and so
it's just a shame.
Remember what we talked about in the Kim Kelly episode that NBC was switching. Well, no, not even taking it off, but NBC was switching their management at the time. So the person that bought Freaks and Geeks and that was championing it left. So now you're under whole new management. We talked about that already, but so that's a part of it too. But yeah, the attention to detail of set design, costuming, and lighting is without reproach.
Look, just in general for film and TV, those people, I'm going to give you guys a shout out, but for this episode specifically, that's awesome. Yeah. Production crew people, that's really great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Really great.
So that's one more reason that this show is so special.
That's so good.
And I think even if you don't know that kind of stuff,
you pick up on it.
It just stands out.
You pick up
Yes. It stands out as this is a show unlike any that I've seen.
It makes you wonder what you missed. Why is this so good?
Right.
Maybe it's these little things you don't think about.
And now we see a lot of shows like this, obviously.
Of course.
But, when you think about it in 2000, it was not like that.
No.
And that's a big reason why. And down to, and we'll get to this in the Geeks section, but down to the blue oval that they used to cover up some things that we're going to talk about.
I couldn't believe that.
That was they originally were going to do like a black box, and the production designers said, no, you know what?
Would that make more sense for the time?
They were like, in the time period, if something was on TV, that they needed to blur out, or if like if an R-rated movie was playing on TV, they would do like a blue dot.
That's why they did that.
Purposely selected that specific editing. Like at first they talked about pixelating, then they talked about the black box, and
that'll take you out of the show,
right?
But they tried to make it almost like the film, like grayish.
Yeah, which still took me out of the show a little bit, but obviously
a little. But it was still, I was surprised because that particular thing just didn't like. Why that?
And that's why.
That's interesting.
It was a product of the time.
You spoiled yourself a little.
Sorry,
you spoiled it. I know how he feels about it. Well, we're finally 40 minutes in.
Let's talk about the geeks.
All right, so geeks.
Well, this will be a short one, he says.
I don't know.
What a classic.
I don't know. Okay.
Our famous last words on Freaks and Geeks Friday.
Next time I'm not saying a thing.
Well, you're right.
All right. Basically, the B story is, once again, Sam is having issues feeling insecure, which we're gonna talk about this, because I don't know. Okay. Anyway, basically, they have to shower in gym class. I guess maybe they're
first
issues.
They have to climb the rope.
Oh, yeah.
First,
all right.
the new presidential guidelines have come down. Jimmy Carter's a wimp.
Jimmy Carter's a wimp. Wait. And
classic
also,
line. The bully says that.
Favorite line, the big kid is like, what do they think I am, Tarzan?
Oh, yeah, the big fat kid. Oh, that poor kid.
I like that kid.
Yeah.
Because I love him.
I like him.
So they're climbing the ropes, and Bill's like, stop looking at my shorts. Coach Biff's like, do it. And Bill's like...
Yeah, Bill's like, stop looking at my shorts.
There's nothing to see. Yes, there is.
There's a lot to see.
There's a lot of good little exchanges in this one.
Yeah. There's a deleted scene on the disc that scene runs like an extra 2 minutes of both before they go up the rope and them riffing while Bill's on the rope.
That's good.
So yeah, classic.
That's really good. But basically, yeah, they do the ropes, and I think I don't know if it's after the ball thing where they're kicking the ball. Is that the second day?
That's the second day.
So I was like, what is that?
The first day is the shower where Coach Biff catches them not showering.
But basically, we have to shower because I guess they're doing the mandate now, and Sam's like insecure about it. I'm gonna be like, why does he want to get everybody naked? It's weird.
Yeah.
And they're like, at first they're like, not really, it's that weird. But then they start kind of like, he starts convincing them that it's kind of weird.
Right.
The bully's there whipping them with towels. So basically,
yeah.
He's not looking forward to this. He's insecure because.
So the first day, none of them shower.
No, they're like, we'll just wash our hair, check to see if it's wet, but they get caught. You do it tomorrow.
Right. So day 2, they have the giant earth ball.
Yeah, I like that.
In the game. I used to play that.
I was wondering if that's the thing.
Yeah, we used to play that. I forget what it was called. I don't know if it was called earth ball.
This doesn't look like the world at all.
Well, and here's another production design thing, by the way.
Okay.
Speaking of that, they had to make that ball from scratch because they don't make them anymore.
That was so
and
weird.
They asked a bunch of high schools if they still had any left, and and a handful of people didn't even believe this was a real thing that people did from the people they asked. Because it was 30 years ago.
I thought this was bizarre when I saw it. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we did Earthball. But so the second day, Neil and Bill decide, okay, we're gonna just bite the bullet, take a shower.
But Sam's like, no.
Yeah.
Sam's hiding.
Sam fake sick.
He's fake sick. He hides in the toilet. I think it's the algebra teacher again.
Yes.
The classic algebra teacher works
teacher.
better. And what was it? They reference, oh man, I get it. Red Rum is murder backwards. See that movie?
right.
That was good. The Shining reference.
So that was day 3 when he didn't go to gym at all. He didn't even go to gym that day.
He's just trying to avoid it this whole time.
Yeah.
When is the
second day is when he got sent to the nurse.
Yes, he gets sent to the nurse. When does the conversation with his parents happen?
Somewhere, I think in between maybe day... Oh, right after day 3, I guess, because they convince him to.
Basically, his mom's like, look, just tell him you're proud of your body.
Yeah, you're proud of your body.
Dad's like,
she makes the dad tell him he has a beautiful body.
Yes, you do. Like, well, anybody seen you naked? Any men seen you naked? Yeah, you happy about it? No, but I live with it.
Right, but I live with it. Plenty of men have seen me naked.
Just tell your...
They make Lindsay tell him.
Oh, if I wasn't your sister, hey, whoa, cut it out.
Right.
That was really late.
She goes too far.
That was great.
Yeah.
Making poor Sam so uncomfortable.
But
it's
in that scene...
It ties into the ideas.
In that scene, we get the only scene where the two stories converge.
This is how...
Which is Lindsay...
Supportive.
Yes. You can see where Lindsay is like, okay, I've got to support my brother who doesn't want to be naked in the locker room, but I have to convince him he's got a hot body, whatever.
Even if it's not true.
And that he should be proud of it. Even if it's not true, which goes into the drumming.
So they are connected thematically, character-wise. It's connected.
It's the only scene in the episode that is, which kind of bums me out.
Yeah, I wish they interwove a little more.
Yeah,
but it's still there.
But it's still great.
Still great, and I have.
But it was really only the one scene last episode too. The scene where Daniel finds him on the porch and tells him about the video.
More direct, though.
That was definitely more direct. Oh yeah, more direct for sure.
So basically, he decides to go through with it. Be confident. I'm proud of my body.
Yeah.
Bully's there. And it doesn't work out. He ends up taking his towel, which is a Star Wars towel, of course. Nice touch.
Star Wars towel.
Locks him out. And, oh, man, I couldn't believe what was happening. I'm like, the poor kid, he's going to have to Birdman it just through the school, come back around. And I thought, okay, well, this will be some hijinks. I got some spare clothes in my locker. Cool-headed.
He's trying
but
to
then
get some
classes come out. Everybody's seen him
naked.
He just running through. I got to get through this. Streaking,
some people. Weird. Right, this was the era of streaking.
So he's actually getting some interesting mixed reaction. Yeah. And his girl that he likes.
Sees the girl.
And thankfully, he's like, I forget. He doesn't curse mouth. What is he mouth like? Oh no! Like it's just
like oh god or something.
I'm just like turn. Which I'm just kind of thinking, well, maybe this isn't the worst thing if she sees it, but whatever.
And she doesn't.
She doesn't see it.
No, it would because it was talked about so frequently how physically immature he is.
Damn.
What?
But I like this character. I don't think she'd completely dismiss him if she saw. She's already talking to him as it is.
Maybe
she knows
not.
He's a little. I don't think she likes him just because of his body.
All right.
I honestly, and I think, my theory can be backed up later. Up later.
Well, she didn't see it though.
I don't think it matters. It's not about the sight. It's not about the sight.
Your theory has holes in it because it didn't happen.
It's okay.
She didn't actually see his penis.
No,
so
it does. My point is,
she heard that he went streaking.
Look, my point is, I don't think she would have cut it off with him just because that happened.
I don't know.
I don't know either, but I don't think so.
All right.
My point is, she doesn't see. So he goes back, comes back around. Biff is hitting on some new teacher. Oh, doing it 2 months. I love it. Oh, I love it Biff. So much too. And then he comes in. He's like, hey, hiding behind the big earth ball.
Yep.
What are you looking at? Like he's so pissed at Biff for encouraging him to do
because
this.
he basically made him do it. I mean,
this is the result. And it's like, the shower's that way. Go on, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So that's how that resolves. But
why did the kids get in trouble? That really makes me mad.
What, Biff?
No, why didn't the kids that locked him out?
I would hope they would. I want to say back then, were they more lenient about this type of way?
Oh, yeah, they didn't care about any of this. They didn't care about anything.
Well,
except cheating, I guess.
I hope that
we saw that.
I hope schools care more about it than they back then, because this is straight up like horrible.
Well, let me tell you what actually happened in Paul Feig's real life, because it wasn't this.
It's inspired by this.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So what really happened when they forced the kids to start taking showers? Was didn't want to do it, whatever.
Was that not a thing beforehand?
We'll talk about that.
Okay, so when I went to school in gym class, showers were optional, but like you didn't have to take one. I think depending on what you did, and I think there wasn't a lot of time between classes. Sometimes, I don't know.
So people did, or they didn't generally.
I think it was pretty mixed.
Is that right?
A lot of people didn't like take showers that much.
Okay.
That I remember, not a lot.
I mean, my school did not have to.
Okay.
But when my dad went there in the late '60s, they absolutely did.
Huh.
And I know, like, my good friend from Shippensburg, who grew up in that town, not just went to the college, but they took showers in gym class in high school in the '90s. I don't know more recently than that, really. But yeah, I mean, that was a thing.
Like a mandatory thing.
Mandatory showers, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So Paul Feig's experience was that he didn't want to do it, whatever, but he gets back there, and all of the jocks are like playing like soap hockey, completely naked, whatever.
Okay.
And they see him and his scrawny body, and they literally just have a pile-on of all of these naked bodies.
Okay.
And he was on the bottom of this pylon. Wow. So that's what really happened. So he brought this up when the script was being done, and they were just like, happen. We can't film that. Like that's
not
that would
happen.
That's
TV.
Basically. I mean, the raping of a kid, essentially,
or something.
You know,
I don't know.
Sexual something, assault, harassment, whatever.
Ooh,
but
yeah.
So they went with the more comedic approach and doing a streaking bit.
But obviously, he's censored with the blue dot.
Censored with the blue dot, so we don't see anything. But
I was still surprised they did that, though. I thought that was pretty risque for back then with a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I was very surprised I was seeing that. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Very Judd Apatow.
Pretty wild.
Teenagers.
Very Apatow with teenagers.
It was very Apatow. I was like, okay, this is very Apatow.
I mean, he was 14 when they filmed it, so yeah, very young.
But before we wrap up, basically, there's rumors going around he might actually get a rep for it. His friends are kind of like, you know, it's cool. And the bully makes fun of him.
Scene.
I love this great
the
scene.
Bully at the
Bully's
end.
like, man, you're a loser. You guys always be losers. Well, how come you're the one going home alone? No offense, buddy. So that was good. And also, of course, his girl. What's the name of the character? I forget. Girl like Sam. Girl likes
now.
Her and a bunch of friends are going like, "Yeah, Sam, would you stream?"
Yeah.
Like they're like. So it was like Cindy.
Yeah.
So I thought that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, I heard you streak. You know, woo, yeah."
Like
they all clap for her.
She wasn't like completely disgusted or bothered.
And it was so perfect. Of course,
awesome.
that happened right
when the bullies like giving her a hard time, like. Yeah, a bunch of girls were like, for that. So that's cool.
Right.
That was cool.
And then, Neil's like, why is he the one going home alone?
The one conversation was great. Like, when are girls ever going to like us? Well, you just got to go for, like, a certain type, like, like the librarian,
Yeah. How about your favorite character, the guru kid that they go to for advice, where he's just standing in the shower completely naked, no towel. He didn't even have a towel on.
No, he didn't have a towel. He was just like, he said, go put a towel on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He doesn't even have a towel on.
Why are you so uptight, man? These are just shells for our heavenly souls. So
Love him.
It's okay, man. I was just
he's so funny.
I like that character a lot.
I like that character too.
I'm glad he's in it. He's good.
Yeah.
He's really cool.
Funny guy.
He's good.
Actually.
Little pockets of wisdom.
Yeah.
Right? I like that.
So I'm glad they keep him around. But yeah, so that's what happened.
That's the synopsis.
That's the synopsis. 50 minutes in. What else can we talk about with the geek storyline? So we like that. That's obviously the comic relief of the episode, even though at times it's very not comical.
No, it has some serious elements to it.
It has some serious elements for sure.
I like that it's definitely feeding on the themes of Sam's insecurity about his body and not quite hitting puberty.
Right.
I think there's. I liked the chemistry between the three. But I felt it was very Sam-centric. I thought
we didn't get much Bill this episode.
Bill and Neil had like some good lines, but they weren't like they were like subtle little things. They weren't like as many big moments that stood out to me too much.
Okay.
Like the one where he's hanging was funny.
Yeah.
Neil's like comment about the librarian.
I don't care for the towel whipping. I never understood that.
I never got that. That's a thing that. People do it, but I think it can be in jest and it could be bullying. It hurts if you twist it up and,
Yeah, I guess if it's all wet.
But I don't think they were wet, though.
No, they didn't look wet.
They didn't look wet.
No.
The bully's still coming back, being a bully. Though I feel like they're less threatened by him now. Like, he's annoying, but, like, it's not like...
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the lice comment that we got in the last episode.
Like, he's still, giving them a hard time, but they're not, like, afraid of him they were in the first episode.
No, they've definitely grown in the first few months of freshman year, for sure.
Yeah, they're not taking his crap
so much. Well, and they've got, Kim Kelly on their side now after the Rashida Jones episode.
Some reinforcements.
Yeah, some reinforcements. So... I can appreciate that.
It was funny. It was good. It was
funny.
I felt like it has covered ground that we've seen before, though.
Okay.
With Sam's character, like, it really didn't add a whole lot new. I hope he comes through feeling better. Like, if he's still insecure in the next couple episodes, I hope. Otherwise, it's kind of going down the same avenue.
Well, I thought this one definitely led to
I like Biff more.
Yeah, you like Coach Biff.
Coach Biff's good.
I think this definitely led to more... about his psyche with his physical immaturity, as opposed to like Rashida Jones was just like I mean, she made fun of the pit hair thing, but really that was just bullying to bully. This was like a school mandated thing that got into his mind that he couldn't get out of. So I do think it twists a little differently for that reason.
You know what? This is a dumb question.
Yeah.
And this is something about me. All right.
Okay.
I didn't really have to, obviously shower too much in school.
Right.
But I remember, in Boy Scouts sometimes if you're out camping.
Yeah, I showered in the Boy Scouts. I didn't shower in school, but I showered at the Boy Scouts.
Or if you went to the gym or something, there were naked people. I didn't really care.
Right.
So I guess I could definitely see how it could be. I'd maybe, a little insecure, but it never bothered me that much. I don't know if it was is it more unusual for him or is it
look?
I don't know.
I think by freshman year,
whatever.
By freshman year, if you are lacking that physical maturity, it sucks. There was definitely a couple of kids. One of them got pantsed in 9th grade, and he was just completely bald down there, and he got made fun of pretty good.
Interesting.
And he turned into
kids will make fun of
kind of an a-hole and an alcoholic and all of that kind of stuff because he just
bullying isn't good, but I just feel like kids will bully about anything. Like if he was well endowed or something, they would have found a way to make fun of him for that.
Maybe, but I think that's a cooler thing to be made fun of.
I guess
certainly,
but you know what I'm saying. Nobody. I guess everybody is a little insecure about being naked when you're a teenager or whenever. But
I guess
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, see, I was an early bloomer, so I didn't care. I was like, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I was more on the. I mean, I was short.
Yeah.
And I'm still short. But
you're insecure about the being short ever? Being a smaller kid?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Because I don't know, girls thought I was cute, which before I came out was fun.
Sure.
And then after I came out, it was great because then all the guys were jealous because they were like, "Well, what are they with you and not me for?" Because you suck. So I never got that, but no, I mean, like, I definitely was much more confident because of that. But I knew people who were not at all. 7th, 8th, 9th grade is
tough.
Very hard for boys because, and probably girls too, with like breast development and stuff too.
Puberty's tough in general.
Everybody's at such a different
levels.
And Sam obviously is very behind. Yeah. I mean, I knew somebody that was so behind that junior year he had to start getting hormone shots.
Oh wow.
To kickstart puberty because he was like 16 at that point.
Oh, geez.
So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a very relatable issue.
Okay.
Maybe not so much now because we don't have to shower in school anymore.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I don't know how long. I think that might be, maybe that's a district, but
I think that probably went out in the 90s and early 2000s,
because
I would
say. Just based on, like, gym class, like, I guess it depended on the kids. Because I was never the most athletic kid, so
Me neither.
Obviously. But you know how, like, you might have different activities. Some guys might play basketball or something.
Right.
And they might do something more physical. I might just walk around the gym and talk to one of my friends or something.
Yeah.
Was what I typically did.
Yeah, they kind of made us do stuff.
So I mean, sometimes they would give you those days where they'd have activities, and other days be more like free gym, they'd call it, or whatever. Open gym,
I usually had to do something. But that was 10 years before you.
They give you a little more freedom and with what you do. But also another thing. Yes. Because I don't know this. When I was growing up, gym was always co-ed, boys and girls together. I just really clicked now. It was like,
not for me. There was only, I think, 3 units that were co-ed. We did like a unit on badminton, that was co-ed. Volleyball was co-ed, but like football, baseball, wrestling, we had a unit on wrestling that was that was only guys.
We never had wrestling. There was the teams, but I don't think there was ever
what was the other one with girls that we did? Oh, it was square dancing. We had in middle school. We did square dancing. That was obviously girls. But
was there an earlier?
No,
episode?
We had a lot of male only. Okay. Basketball, football, all that stuff was only guys.
All the activities we had were always boys and girls throughout.
Okay.
Always.
They must have changed that then.
At least my district.
For here, yeah.
So which I never really thought otherwise about. But in this episode, was there an earlier one where there were boys and girls in the same gym? Or am I misremembering?
I mean, Biff's only been in the gym one other time because last episode he was in the health room.
But the volleyball
for the sex ed. But yeah, in the pilot,
was there? I forget. Were there girls?
There might have been, yeah.
Because this episode was all boys and just clicked. Like I just couldn't remember if this was only boys.
Oh yeah, the I would say 75% of our units were boys only in gym.
Okay, I just know if it's a historical thing. Because for me growing up, it was always boys and girls for all the gym stuff.
Okay.
Whatever.
Even like would you play football and stuff?
Well, there were certain things we didn't do.
Oh, we had football. All the major sports we did.
Like if it was a mandated activity,
right.
It was always something that both could do, like volleyball or something. Okay. Like it was always like softball, boys and girls being in it. Pretty sure, but yeah, if it was open, then people could go do whatever. But they never really did football.
Yeah, we had a football unit. We had a wrestling unit. Obviously, you couldn't have girls doing that.
Or certainly not boys and girls doing it.
Not co-ed. I mean, the girls might have had their own wrestling unit. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, we definitely had a lot of boys only. All right, well, look, it's it's yet again another record breaker.
I don't understand.
We go into this, I don't know, a half hour tops. Hour later. All right, so let's grade this thing now before it gets to an actual hour. So, this for me...
Okay, help me out.
...is, again, lesser than the first 4.
Okay.
First 4, from pilot to Kim Kelly, that's the cream of the crop that we've seen so far. The last episode and this episode, a little bit lower.
Okay.
I
don't know what I'm going to give it.
I was set on a B+ for this episode.
Set.
But... after listening to the commentary,
okay,
and seeing all of the incredibly painstaking efforts with the set design, the lighting, and all of that, and then realizing, because at first I was like, the reason I was B+ was that I didn't like that the two stories didn't converge at all.
Not too much. No.
I didn't like that, but then once I realized, that dinner table scene, it's subtle, but it gives us all the insight into why Lindsay is doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
It does converge it over that way, so I like that. But it is, I agree, maybe treading on a little ground already with
it's a little
the physical stuff.
With the geek stuff.
But it was more about, that was about a female bully and Busy Phillips and all of that. This is more about a school-mandated thing that freaks everybody out. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sort of on the fence. What say you? I'll defer to you. Do you think this is an A- or a B+? Those are the only acceptable choices.
I could agree with that range. I will say I agree with that range.
Okay.
I do like the painstaking effort from the production people.
Yes,
that's
so
cool.
many. Well, of course they do that every episode, I suppose, but
I mean,
more so in this one.
Grades is difficult because I like learning about the film can help you appreciate certain things.
Yeah.
But then you got to look at what it is, and then you got to look at the story elements. And I agree it's a different scenario.
I think B+ is all right.
It's a different scenario, but I really feel like the geek stuff is, we've seen a lot better stuff.
Okay.
We have covered this ground before already, and better in other episodes.
Okay.
I hold by that. I really like the Nick stuff.
But I was going to say all the Freak stuff.
The Freak stuff is great. Is really good. A is A worthy. If this was at the same level, A, maybe A+. It was really good.
Okay. Yeah, the Freak stuff is great.
But I wish they were a little more interwoven, subtle, but maybe a little more. I don't like the ending that much too. Remember?
I did like the ending.
The ending was a little iffy for me. But I was going to give this a B+.
I'm okay on a B+.
I like the production stuff, but I just thought that the story stuff, the geek stuff, it held me back a little bit.
Okay.
Even with the streaking. I liked it, but I felt like
I did enjoy the streaking.
It was daring, but at the same time, kind of cheap.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Silly?
A little silly, a little
too
hijinks.
silly, maybe?
He's naked running with. I'm like
a little silly. Okay.
I'm fine with it, but
I do like the way they resolved it.
Yes.
Instead of just embarrassing him, they made him to be this cult hero.
That was cool.
That was very cool.
That was cool.
That was cool.
But I feel like from what I've seen in the show, I'm like, maybe we didn't have to resort to that. It could have easily gone many different directions.
So worst of the 6 that we've seen so far.
Yes.
But a B+ is still very good.
Very good episode.
Very good episode of television yet again. And once again, we've broken our own record talking about a 44-minute show for an hour.
What happened? What happened? Why did that happen?
Well, first of all, we did spend a lot of time talking about gym, talking about what happened in gym class in the 90s.
It's relevant.
It is relevant.
I don't know. Well,
I'm not saying it's not. I think the only things that were really not relevant was when we went on our Arrested Development tangent, but that was only 2 minutes.
Still kind of related.
But a little bit related, yes.
Well, let people know in the comments. Do you think we run on too long? Because if you do, I mean, let us know.
Yeah,
they're probably not going to.
It's us, so I don't know if it matters.
I don't know if we'll stop.
Do people make it a full hour on these reviews? I don't know.
I think some people might turn it on the background and listen for a while. I think that's probably
I could see that.
Pretty consistent.
I could see that. But all right, but before we go any further, this is it.
It's good.
We'll see y'all next week. Thank you for watching. Bye.